What's happening, fandoms? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here,
we react to music videos and shows.
Today we're going back to that new Rockstars goodness where they break down She-Hulk episode 8 and tell us all the stuff we missed and all the Easter eggs and all the comic book connections and all the juicy stuff that it goes by too fast for us to see.
Right.
Love their work. If you're not already a fan of new Rockstars, they are amazing content creators, and they have more than just these breakdowns, so you should check them out. But we're gonna check out with you this breakdown with Miss Jessica Clemens.
I'm Jessica Clemens, here to break down episode 8. Yeah, this is 8. So I'm here to break down episode 8 of She-Hulk for you, which was both great and amazing and sexually liberating, but also bad, horrible. And once I get my hands on the intelligentsia, I swear to God, I'm gonna wind up and punch them right in the goddamn throat.
And thanks to Rockstars for sponsoring today's video. More about them later.
We welcome local cutie and bad boy Daredevil and Leapfrog and get to learn a lot of new things since we've last seen Matt. Also, this Matt is super funny, acrobatic, and overall just really fun. It's really crazy. So let's just get into it, because I'm sure you want to hear about Daredevil as much as MT wants to hang out with Leapfrog. We open this episode to Jen and Smart Hulk from episode 1 discussing how Jen is going to make She-Hulk work. And yes, it's W-O-R-K, but also W-E-R-K. You get it? This is the first time in an episode started like this with the music before the previously on card. It's playing the song Work by rapper, musician, and nerd Jalissa Wilson. We see Monahan's Wholesale, which we've seen briefly in the trailers, and also an homage to She-Hulk supervising art director Drew Monahan. We see two robbers stealing a couple Linskog 65-inch smart TVs. One is played by Anthony Goolsby, and the other is played by Charles Barden, who did stunts for a ton of other Marvel properties. So it makes sense because he's about to just get shoulder checked into this van by Leapfrog right now. So we're finally introduced to Leapfrog. Well, you know, like verbally, because we've already seen him before at Luke Jacobson's studio, but now we're like actually talking to him. Also known as Guard Frog, which I think is a play off of like Guard Dog. I don't know. I know you probably heard me, Voss, or MT talk about Leapfrog before, but for a quick summary, in the comics, Leapfrog was actually Vincent Patilio, the inventor and Eugene's father. He was a pretty bad guy, but once his father went to the prison, Eugene donned the Leapfrog costume and swore to use it for good. Vincent Patillo, the dad, was known for going head-to-head with Daredevil, Iron Man, the Defenders, so it's not too far off from what we see now with Daredevil just now entering. Eugene the son, once donning the costume, was known as Frogman, who helped Spider-Man, the Human Torch, and the Avengers. That doesn't mean he was an amazing superhero, though. That does not mean that he was good at his job at all. Don't get it twisted. He was still pretty kooky and goofy. That's why he's involved in She-Hulk. This family wasn't as wealthy in the comics, but in the She-Hulk series, they certainly are. Jen is interviewing Eugene Patilio in her office at GLK&H and reading a comic book, I think, that has Leapfrog on the cover. Also, Jen's new threads are mwah. In the comics, Frogman and Leapfrog have electric coiled springs in their boots, giving them the ability to jump super far and high. Not these rocket shoes. But my boy Tom Michelson caught this one. When the rocket shoes start sputtering, it's the same sound of the Millennium Falcon hyperdrive fail.
Watch this.
This isn't surprising because they use Skywalker sound for post-production sound services. You Star Wars nerd, you. Also, we get a call out to the impeccable title, and I guess Leapfrog's catchphrase, which is time to ribbit and rip it, which just reminds me of Beyblades, and I really like it. Once Jen finds out her client is suing Luke Jacobson, she runs straight to Holden Holloway's office, who says he doesn't want to upset Mr. Patillo Sr. So we've got Leapfrog's dad now in the company. Todd's also a client, so it's not adding up the way I want. It's all a little too suspicious. The very beginning I pitched Holden Holloway was in on it all, and it looks like unlikely, but it also isn't. It could still be happening. Also, I've theorized many a times we've probably already seen Leapfrog's dad in episode 4, the married guy that hits on Jen and Nikki. What we know from Eugene and his father are seemingly rich enough to give his son a secret lair out of their building. Or it could be a front for used cars, but still they're building either way. So it's good to note this sus behavior because it's very sus. Once Jen makes her way to Luke Jacobson's studio, he's working on Jen's gala dress, and Luke is not having these false allegations. He ripped Jen's outfit off of the mannequin, and he's completely done with her. We're back with Jess Price, who we last saw him in episode 1 and 3. And in swaggers our good old friend Charlie Cox, aka Matt Murdock, aka Daredevil. And before I get any further, I'd like to remind y'all we have some amazing shirts at the Epic Hero Shop, and we're releasing our Daredevil merch right now. This man is back, and we've got a new tee for him called the Devil's Advocate, and it kicks ass more than ever. Our Lady Justice tea is still here, but it's going to the dungeon soon, so make sure you grab it before it's gone. Get it all at the epicheroshop.com because it's gonna go quick. It's gonna go quick and it's gonna go fast. Okay, back to our regular programming. Now let me remind you the last time we saw Daredevil. Matt was mourning the loss of Elektra after the Defenders, while Foggy and Karen mourn his death. We get a lot of senseless murder by Dex, aka Bullseye. We find Matt's mom, bring Vanessa back. In the end, we get an epic showdown between Dex, Matt, and Wilson Fisk. Dex' spine gets crumbled. Fisk goes back to prison. Foggy, Karen, and Matt reunite happily. Everything's blue skies and sunshine. Then we see Dex being worked on by Kenji Oyama, and the rest is history. And as a reminder, Charlie Cox said in an interview that Daredevil Born Again is like a season 1, not a season 4. It's a whole new thing. So some things may spill over, but ultimately, I think it's okay to assume not all of season 3 will come to the MCU. This is also just an FYI for how we last saw him in the bigger scope of things, not with his cameo that he made in Spider-Man No Way Home. And this Daredevil's got jokes. He saw jokes in the Netflix series. This one's pure comedy. This scene also mirrors our free comics QR code. In She-Hulk #4 by Charles Soule, She-Hulk is friends with Matt, so much so she goes for him for advice. They later go head to head, Jen defending and Matt prosecuting Steve Rogers. This is one of my favorite runs. They were both chosen just because they're phenomenal lawyers. Now, Jen breaks the fourth wall, calling Matt an asshole for asking for the motion to compel production of the defendant's client list to be rejected as it's not relevant to the litigation, which is complete lawyer jargon mumbo jumbo, which is lawyer talk for First things first. Jacobson is not giving you his client list because it has nothing to do with the case. Now, this is when they begin using a lot of lawyer jargon, and I'll be breaking it down really quickly for you because I watched enough longer. She-Hulk says we need the list because there's probably other people who have been affected just like this. Matt says Luke's record for working with people is top tier. There should be no complaints. She-Hulk summarizes more reason to bring clients to the stand. If he has nothing to hide, then there's no worries, right? Matt basically argues an invasion of privacy on the client's end, where Jen remarks this basically isn't a private issue. People should know what they're getting into by hiring Luke first, where Matt retorts that Luke's clients are superheroes which need to remain anonymous at times and brings up the Sokovia Accords being repealed as an example. Okay, so this itself is already pretty big news. To some, small news to others, but to me, I think it's a pretty big deal. As a reminder, the Sokovia Accords were introduced in Civil War. The whole framework is to regulate the activities of superheroes, more so enhanced individuals. When our superheroes even fought against it, remember, they were sent to the raft. So this is not just a little slap on the wrist. This is a big deal. The Accords were seemingly still in place even after the blip and even during WandaVision. So now that we know they've been repealed in 2025, because that's seemingly when She-Hulk takes place, that means enhanced individuals can basically do whatever they want. Not necessarily like what they want, but they could get another Lagos incident, or just not having the closer monitor on how these folks are engaging in saving the day. I mean, does that sound dangerous to you? Let me know how you feel, because I genuinely was Team Captain America, so I was against the Accords, but still, what happens when a bunch of innocent people get hurt in the crossfire? It just seems like, ooh, a recipe for a lot of disaster. This is when the argument and trial becomes more about Daredevil and She-Hulk than opposed to Luke Jacobson and Leapfrog. They're arguing about being anonymous to being well known. While they both kind of take jabs at one another, it's clear their personal lives are rolling over into this case. Also, it's so on the nose, but I love this line.
He's lying. Don't ask me how I know, I just know.
Yes, we can all tell he's lying, Mr. Murdoch.
We all know how Daredevil knows Eugene is lying. He can smell the fumes and also hear the heartbeats, you guys. He is not a bat, but close enough. And unfortunately, Jen technically loses her second case. If you want to count the Titania storming in and disrupting as a loss, and technically getting Donnie to sign the cease and desist later too. So yeah, maybe 2. We're back at the Legalese Bar and Grill. Jen's delivered a green apple teeny from Matt, and I do declare this man is giving me the vapors. Also, a green apple teeny. So funny. I'm green, I get it. He even later hints at his new suit made by Luke Jacobs that we can only assume is the new Daredevil threads by Luke Jacobson. Matt even mentions Nelson and Murdoch, his law firm back in Hell's Kitchen, possibly called Nelson, Murdoch, and Page now, right? Because that's how we ended season 3. Hopefully they bring that over, or it just feels like kind of messed up to be like, Karen still works for us, but her name is taken off the headlines. When Matt says this,
Jen Walters can use the law to help.
She's an amazing actress. I hope she's in it.
And She-Hulk can help people when the law fails them.
It reminds me of in the comics when Matt and Jen had a heart-to-heart on how being an attorney can't go the same lengths as being a superhero. He used this to break Felicia Hardy, aka Black Cat, out of prison when it was proven she was framed. And oh boy, Jen, are we ever feeling this guy? Also, when he stepped away for that phone call, it must have been for Luke, and he's handling it so calmly, as Daredevil does time and time again. That's when the worst thing that could ever happen happens. Todd asked Jen for legal advice, and they need to talk ASAP immediately, and he's being a dick about it. We're meeting Todd at Hoof and Flower on Wilshire. Wilshire is long, but it's in West Hollywood near Beverly Hills, am I correct? He goes through Beverly Hills, so it's not surprising that Todd is demanding to meet there. Todd is waiting, sipping on some red wine, and a peep all those red and black label Johnny Walkers behind him. He's clearly not here to talk about law. This is around the part he yells at a quiet restaurant, "Wakanda forever," and puts his arms to his chest. Yeah, made me completely uncomfortable. He also purchased an authentic Wakanda war spear at an auction, which we can assume is probably one to the Dormalash. Now, this part where Todd says they want it back because colonizers took it from them is a big deal and important to note. In the first Black Panther movie, we first see adult Killmonger at the Museum of Great Britain looking over the Wakandan artifact that's actually vibranium. This item was taken by British soldiers in Benin, but we know back in the day, a lot of Western nations during the war and colonization stole so many African art pieces, and rightfully African countries deserve their artifacts. But people like Todd, who clearly love Africa, want to keep it. He thinks he deserves it for dropping $1 million on it and taking a clearly Photoshop photo with the damn spear like a damn colonizer. So if people are suspecting Black Panther Wakanda Forever to possibly take place in 2023 or 2024, She-Hulk is allegedly 2025. I think the connection is that after whatever happens in Wakanda Forever, there's another step for Wakanda moving forward. When I say this, I mean, in the first Black Panther, Claw was clearly a threat, but everyone was mixed on whether T'Challa should stay or leave. They weren't as worried about the artifact, and in the end, they started expanding their outreach. Now, in Wakanda Forever's trailer, we get this sweet line that I love so much, where she says, "We know what you whisper. They have lost their protector. Now it's our time to strike." That clearly can be aimed towards a lot of things, but I think in play with it is the idea that it didn't make us weaker, it made us stronger, we as a nation. And when I say we and us, I'm talking about Wakanda. I'm sorry, I just feel like I'm from there. And they'll be doubling down on everything, getting back in order and moving forward like never before. And one of those steps could be reclaiming their stolen goods. Maybe we'll see some of that at the end of Wakanda Forever. I have to say, I love being a nerd, but really going all in on a fandom is expensive. There's collector's edition merch, maquettes, VIP tickets to cons. It adds up pretty quickly. That's why I like to use Rocket Money, my favorite all-in-one finance app. And look here, I've been only using it for about 5 months now, and the app helps me manage my expenses and save hundreds, because you know I'm always buying clothes, always buying merch, and always buying subscriptions. I am addicted to it. So app. To try Rocket Money out for free and support our channel, head to rocketmoney.com/newrockstars or click the link in the video description down below. That's rocketmoney.com/newrockstars. Save your money. Save it. We also learn in this scene that Todd studied abroad in Wakanda. This could be why Riri Williams is in Wakanda in the first place. She could be studying abroad. Also in the comics, Brody from Ms. Marvel left to study abroad in Wakanda. This will probably be tethered to their outreach and helping those outside of Wakanda. We see Jen's suit, which has been many upon many variations of in the comics, but I like this one the most because it feels more practical, you know? If I had a leotard from the comics, you know, it'll be flimsy. All my bits and chips will be all over the place. So yes, we like practicality in women's fighting fits. It's what we want. Of course, Jen's strong enough to stop a car with her calf. She basically shoulder checked them in the comics. And also know Daredevil's acrobatic nature. We don't see much of this in the Netflix series, but he was always very acrobatic in the comics. Now, I know we've been waiting for this for a long time and we all know about his suit change, but you know, it's the breakdown, so I have to talk about it. So Daredevil's now wearing a red and yellow suit instead of his normal red and black we've seen before. Now, it doesn't stray too far from the comics depiction, but also good to note that this is a Luke Jacobson original, not Melvin Potter. Also, Daredevil really said, "My ass remains unwhooped." I just love how funny he is. Also, yes, he was still very funny and has a sense of humor in the Daredevil series when he wasn't so brooding, but here he's not that brooding. After fighting in the parking lot, which I refer to as the dance of the soups, we see a poster for Rogers the Musical and Despierta News, which we've seen on a couple other episodes, and a giant poster for Donnie Blaze, if you remember him back in episode 4. Also, again, not Jen's first time lifting a car, you guys. We saw her do it in that credit scene that one episode. Also, this is happening and Leapfrog is speeding past Avis on Flower Street in downtown Los Angeles. Once Jen finds out Daredevil is actually Matt, she questions his power, like echolocation, which we know is like he has radar sense, but it's maybe it's just easier to be like, yeah, I'm like a bat, it's echolocation.
Or a dolphin.
Also, Jen says this.
I assume the guy dressed as the devil was the bad one.
Which could also be a nod to Bullseye from Daredevil season 3, who was the bad guy dressed up like a devil running around town. Also, it plays Daredevil's sick intro, and I'm stoked. We're all stoked.
Gold devil.
I'm
Oh
Daredevil.
yeah, that's right.
They clearly haven't changed it from the Netflix series, which I'm so excited for. And in super bogus news, Jen has never heard of Daredevil before. Maybe because his heroic feats don't reach the West Coast, or maybe because they're so small in Hell's Kitchen, it's nothing to California. There's also been a lot of stuff happening in between these two shows, so it's not surprising that Jen doesn't know who he is, and maybe that'll give way to the future of the MCU when he shows up. They take Jen's Prius, that's clearly been fixed since last episode, to the lily pad, which is his secret lair, Eugene Batilio's, and you can tell by their family's name on the side of the building. And peep the We Buy Houses QR code that leads you to the Charles Soule run of She-Hulk 2014, issue number 9 that I talked about earlier. My favorite issue from Soule. Whee!
Multiple QR codes in one episode?
Now, I hate to be this person, but Leapfrog's secret lair is sick as hell. The old school Leapfrog art on the wall, the sticker on the computer, a completely green Secret Labs gamer chair, the yellow diving helmet, which I don't know of any Marvel characters that wear the yellow diving helmet other than Mysterio. Thank you, Brandon. But I do know this is a swampy-inspired lair, so maybe they pulled inspiration from Scooby-Doo. We have the brass frog lamp, frog parking only, Leapfrog beacon light like Batman's little signal, little Leapfrog game on the table, a green motorcycle, Frogger and Leapfrogger. At first, I thought the Frogger sign was just posted over another game, but it actually just genuinely looks like that. A greenish trampoline, clearly a lily pad, and a little child park riding frog. This man said, if it's green or if it's a frog, put it in my lair.
That's
Either
right.
way,
He wants it all.
Indeed did kidnap Luke Jacobson. For a minute, I didn't believe. I was like, maybe it was a mistake. Maybe it was the dad. But no, he stole a man. He stole Luke Jacobson. He tells Luke he wants his new suit to have bulletproof shields, a fancy AI with a British voice, most likely a nod to Iron Man and Jarvis.
Yeah.
Also, peep this lamp with all the old school Leapfrog stickers. It's just like swagged out. Daredevil brings up the difference between henchmen and goons that I love and never noticed that henchmen believe in the cause, goons are just there for the paycheck, and that's great to keep in mind. Also, okay, oh my God, when Daredevil listens to Jen's heartbeat, nah, like, come on, are you kidding me? Jesus Christ, I need like an ice bath after that. And we're back at it. Our boy's fighting people in the long hallway again. Don't we just love these scenes where he's always fighting people in hallways and the lights are just contrasting everything? I just love it. Billy Clubs extend and have a special steel fiber cable that allows it to shoot out. You're seeing during the fight. We see this also, I think, in season 2. The walkie-talkie says Cobra, and before we start going crazy about what Cobra is, Cobra. That is disgusting! Because it's not the first time we see it in this episode, trust me. We also see it on Leapfrog's seatbelts, but I think it's because his car is modeled after the 1960 Shelby Cobra. Also, Cobra is just a brand of walkie-talkies, so don't read too much into it unless he's just a fan of that brand. This is the scene we got from the trailer, so now it's clear that these are Leapfrog's goons. We've got a crossbow guy, a crowbar guy, a sort of grappling hook on a chain guy. You know, those kinds of people are wild. This squad of tadpoles is messy as the Wrecking Crew and very misplaced. They don't know their weapons. They just don't even know what they're doing. We're ready for this throwdown, another hallway fight, everything we wanted. This blue light casted upon us. We are amped. And then all of a sudden, freaking She-Hulk falls through the ceiling, smashing the goons with debris with our very own new She-Hulk catchphrase, I guess.
She-Hulk smash.
She-Hulk smash.
And yes, Jen, he's doing it for all of us. He's doing it for you. He's doing it for me. We're all into this. We all want to have sex with him too. And just like his father in the comics, Leapfrog jumps out the window, breaking his legs. Now, this is maybe the funniest and most embarrassing thing I've ever seen done in a comic. And if you've seen worse, please at me, try to, because Leapfrog jumping out of a window and breaking his legs in the comics is very funny. Holy shit. Holy shit, holy shit. The sexual tension was real. We weren't reading too much into it. Not me screaming at Daredevil's clothes lining the ground like those little kids dropping the breadcrumbs. God, good Lord. Cody, you done wrote us an episode. You done wrote us an episode and I love it, baby. Thank you, Cody. Thank you so much. The next morning, the morning after, the walk of shame, baloney. Daredevil's never been prouder. Also, I'm sure we'll see Daredevil again because we have one more episode and Titania posted this today, which is Charlie Cox in the same room we saw at Blonsky's retreat. So they'll be going back to Blonsky's retreat and we'll learn why all these men are high-fiving in the mid-season trailer, hopefully. Like us, Jen breaks the fourth wall saying, it feels like the episode should be over, and it's not over.
A weird
I feel the same way. I was
too.
like, we're all at this point, right? And I think this is also really important to note that she's never broke the fourth wall this much, being so aware that the episode should in fact be over. Jen reminds us and is very surprised that the next episode is actually the finale, which get him all my kisses out before it actually happens. In a very writer-knowing situation, right before the finale usually comes the climax or the twist, and even Jen says it. So we're expecting the next 5 to 10 minutes to be probably horrific, and they are. Either way, before we get to that part, they are teasing us about this Red Hulk. She even mentions Red Hulk, and we all been thinking about it. We all been expecting Todd to be Red Hulk. So if you don't know, Red Hulk was Thunderbolt Ross in the comic books. The Intelligentsia gave Thunderbolt Ross the ability to transform into the Red Hulk to better fight the Hulk. Now, in the comics, we really didn't know who Red Hulk was for a while, but we do know Abomination killed Betty Ross when Thunderbolt Ross freed him to kill Hulk, and Thunderbolt Ross spiraled. But MODOK and the Leader offered to basically bring back his daughter and also kill Hulk for good. So they injected Ross with gamma radiation, which turned him into the Red Hulk, and the Leader, when bringing Betty Ross back to life, turned her into the Red She-Hulk. I would love to see this play out clearly in the She-Hulk series. People are expecting it to be Todd, which I am still banking on. I will put money down on Todd turning into Red Hulk by the end of the series. Hopefully Todd and not like the Leader. Jen also mentions, am I getting fridged? Which is a term meaning to kill, hurt, assault, basically depower women in stories to boost the man's storyline. Which, if you haven't heard, you've definitely seen done. Shoot, it happens to Gwen Stacy all the time, you guys. The term was coined by Gail Simone and ultimately refers to the Green Lantern issue number 53, where he comes home to his apartment and finds his girlfriend dead and stuffed in their fridge. These storylines you can see in situations where like the women didn't really need to die. You know, Green Lantern didn't need to overcome anything because his girlfriend's death. He would have solved it on his own. And what I'm saying is this is just mainly in writing. It's not Green Lantern's fault, it's in the writing's fault. So Gail created a website showing every time women in comics were used solely to push male story arc rather than dive into their own damn problems. We're not a throwaway device, you guys. You can't just use us for your storylines to further them in this way. Round out your characters. Don't use us dying or being assaulted as your ticket out, my dude. It's not that hard. Yeah, if you're a good writer, you can write. That was my rant about being fridged, because it happens. It still happens. It happens in every show. Just before we transition, Nikki is about to do Jen's makeup, and come on. That's not the Wolverine. No, I'm not having it. We've gotten 2 Wolverine, 3 if we want to count the sneaker. We've gotten 3 Wolverine nods. And now that we know that Wolverine's coming into Deadpool 3, how are you not gonna just stop acknowledging it if you're not gonna acknowledge it? You know, I love, whatever. We're at the Southern California Law Awards, which we've seen earlier in the trailer. Jen steps out looking beautiful in the silver dress and heels to match. The song playing is The Next Big Thing by West Rose. We see Jen's parents, Elaine and Morris Walter. Holden is there, and peep Todd's hair, okay? Just remember that hair. Remember the back of that hair, because we're gonna come back to it at the end. Nikki mentions Jen's dress being a Luke Jacobson, Zuhar Murad collaboration, and I'm sorry if I butchered your name, but this is a real Lebanese fashion designer, not fictional, real person. We're table 14, and Pug is also there. Jen wins, and so do 5 other women. We all thought it was going to be just one winner, and it's 5. Karen Hunter, Alice Chen, Joanne Torres, Barbara Wells, and our good suspicious friend Mallory Book. I don't know if they did this on purpose, but each of those people, other than Mallory Book, are actual attorneys in California. Jen is rudely interrupted by the Hulk King emoji that's screaming, and it's like Pepe Frog. Like, I hate this. And a distorted voice breaking through, blaring, do you want to see who She-Hulk really is? The Intelligentsia is giving a speech about hating She-Hulk like every ransom video I've ever seen made. Now, I hate to do this, but it's my breakdown, so we gotta talk about it. They pull up Jen's matcha likes, her text messages, photos of Captain America during Civil War, her bills, and including this video of her and Josh sleeping together, where Josh actually recorded this horrible, like, revenge porn, and now it's being played for everyone at this gala. This is genuinely the most horrible and completely messed up thing I've ever seen in the world. Like, it's awful. It's awful outing people with, like, nudes or anything like that in general, but, like, actually seeing it done to Jen at this gala in front of her peers, clearly she deserves to be a Hulk in Rampage. Right. Also, this scene could have been triggering to some, so I'm really sorry it affected you, and I wish I could have tweeted out a warning, but the way I watched this episode is so sporadic that it hit me at 2 in the morning. Jen's reaction is completely valid, though, and Mallory tries to stop her, and once Jen breaks the TV, the red alarms go off, and we can assume she'll look like the Terror tonight after the destruction she just made, sort of how Bruce warned her in the first episode. It's like the scene from Carrie. The lights are blaring red and She-Hulk's eyes are wide, and Rude by Shy Girl plays, and it's literally like the eerie screech noise at the beginning when Carrie's like, they're all gonna laugh at you. It's horrible. There's a chance that this guy isn't him. I don't think this could be Todd. It might not be. I mean, look at the sideburns, look at the long hair. Kind of resembles Ched, which I really don't want. Or it could be the director, Noah, but I'm banking for Todd. I just wanted to be Todd because he's already an asshat. Might as well just make him more of an asshat. We get the Law coming in, which we can assume to be the DODC because they're jackets, and they're using the Hulk miniature versions of the Hulk frequency machine we saw in Incredible Hulk. It feels like that, but it also feels like the machines that they use in Miss Marvel. New courtroom illustrations are had. Todd and Leapfrog in the suit bidding on the Wakandan spear. What we can assume is Daredevil and Jen under the covers, and Jen's knocked over J-Mug, and Daredevil's glove and suit lying on the nightstand with Jen's bra on top of the helmet. Ooh. Daredevil passing Nikki on the not-so walk of shame. That's everything I've spotted in the 8th episode of She-Hulk. You guys, this episode was really great. I'm so glad that we finally got Daredevil. And with so much great news, of course, had to come horrible news, but I know we'll get them in the last episode. We'll get them in the last episode. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Lulu_Clemens. Follow New Rockstars. Subscribe to New Rockstars for more breakdowns of everything you love. Thanks for watching. Time to rib it and rip it!
Yes.
Oh man, I agree. This was This was my
episode.
I think my favorite She-Hulk episode so far. It had the best action.
Right.
It had Daredevil. It had Daredevil and She-Hulk hooking up.
And then also the frog leap guy.
Right.
And a lot of action, and also comedic moments they have.
Yes, lots of comedy surrounding Leapfrog and his ability to break his legs when he jumps out of a window. I mean, come on, how pathetic. Like, why would you even do that if you don't have a way to... Why would you jump out the window? What a dummy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I would say, even though Leapfrog, it was really played up to be a dumb superhero in this, I liked all the things in his lair, right? Like seeing all of those frogs and different frog related items and the stickers and the video games and all of that stuff. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed all of the details that were incorporated into that scene. Even though it was a tiny part of the whole show.
I was just excited to have Daredevil. I'm like, I miss watching the Daredevil, so I was like, I wish they had more season to it.
The music stings that they were dropping in every time he was like glaring at the camera. Oh man, it sounded so good, and it reminded me of the good old Daredevil days. I loved the Netflix show. Right. It was so good.
Well, thank you again for tuning into our channel. Don't forget to give your support to She-Hulk. She's on Disney Plus if you'd like to watch them. And don't forget to give your love and support to us. You've been, you have been embracing our channel and also supporting us from the beginning. Without you, we wouldn't be here today.
And
with
also New Rockstars.
Exactly.
Because they give us good stuff too.
Absolutely. So thank you for your recommendations and your suggestions. We really appreciate them. Thank you again, and see you in the next video.